Mistakes in client notes. They can impact on the care that the client or resident receives. They can impact on how your organisation is viewed. And in a worst case scenario, they can be subpoenaed by a court of law. So you're going to want to make sure you are writing them correctly. But are you? Well, that's today's topic. Hi, I'm Carrie from Culturally Directed Care Solutions, where we give you the knowledge and tools to provide quality care with confidence. If you're interested in understanding the aged care sector better, then consider subscribing so you can stay up to date with the latest in industry reforms and practices. Now, stick around to the end of this video and I'll let you know where you can access a free resource that will help to reinforce the information that we discuss today. Now, while many of the problems that we're highlighting relate to handwritten notes, even if you're using an electronic client management system, you're going to find that quite a number of the issues I discuss will still be relevant to your context. And we're also going to look at some that are specific to electronic notes. So what are the most common mistakes in progress notes that I see when conducting file audits or that managers have raised with us? Well, one that's relevant to both paper-based and electronic notes is writing in the wrong person's notes. Take care. If you've got two people with similar names, always double check whose notes you are writing in. Look at their identifiers, their date of birth and photos if those are included in their file. What about making a global entry? This is related specifically to electronic client management systems, as they sometimes allow a writer to paste a note across multiple clients. And if you're not careful, you might find that you've assisted every resident in the facility to the toilet at 2 p.m, even those who are bedbound. Now think of the mess that's going to make to the ACFI paperwork. Next, using a pencil or red pen. Okay, this one is for the paper-based note makers. All entries must be written in either blue or black indelible ink, which means an ink that can't be erased. And with regards to either blue or black ink, blue is generally considered the best in a legal context because it's easier to tell a photocopy printout. But really, go with whatever your organisation preference is. Just hide those red, purple and green pens, please. Another mistake the paper-based note writer might be guilty of is illegible script. Now, this is not the time to channel your GP. We need to be able to read your notes and understand what you are saying. So make sure they're very clear and I can read them. And leading on from that, non-sensical notes. Doesn't matter whether you're using a paper or a client management system. Just make sure that your note makes sense. You know, I've sat there sometimes trying to work out what the writer was trying to convey in a progress note, and that's not a good sign. While an electronic system will generally date and timestamp your entry, you need to remember to include these if you're using a paper-based system. And it's really important when someone is trying to backtrack along a time frame. So time and date. And while yes, that electronic client management system will date and timestamp the entry, you are responsible for noting any differences in the time between the issue or the incident and the note where that's relevant. Next up, not signing your entry. Yes, it's another paper-based mistake. Some organisations will require you to put your full signature and designation, while other smaller organisations are okay with you just signing off with your initials. So just make sure you follow your organisation's protocol with that. And while not signing off on a paper-based notes is an issue that you don't have to worry about when you're using an electronic client management system, you do need to take care that you don't accidentally use someone else's login because they haven't logged out. And then don't forget to log out yourself. once you've finished your entry, because otherwise you're going to leave yourself open to all sorts of legal backlash if something goes wrong. Now, one of the most common mistakes I see in a paper-based note system is leaving gaps between the lines, gaps where someone could add additional notes that can potentially make you look bad, or that will cover up someone's actions or inactions. And then the second most common mistake is blacking out a written error or using whiteout to cover it up. Just put a simple line through any blank spaces, or a single or double line through an error if you make one. Now, before I move on to discuss the last few mistakes, I want to let you know about a new course we're launching in February 2021, aimed at helping you write better progress or client notes. Now, we realise it's not always practical for people to come to a full or half-day course, plus it's often a lot to take in, it can be costly, etc. So we have created an online version, and it includes lots of activities, a lot more tips and ideas for writing clear and concise notes. They're going to help protect you and the organisation you work for, and ultimately support quality care for clients and residents. So if you would like to go on the list to receive an alert and the special introductory price once that course is launched, then click on the link in the description below. Now, if you're watching this after mid-February, you'll also find a link to the course in the description section. But now, back to the mistakes we want to avoid when writing progress notes. Sometimes we want to show that we understand the terminology of the industry. But please, be really careful. The health, aged and disability care sector is full of similar sounding but different meaning words, such as dysphagia, meaning difficulty swallowing, and dysphasia, difficulty using or understanding speech. Now, just take the easy route and just use simple words as much as possible. Likewise, sometimes people use personal or non-standard acronyms or shorthand when writing notes. Now, there can't be any ambiguity with progress notes. Everyone needs to be able to read and understand clearly what you have written. And when writing your notes, avoid making assumptions about a person or their actions. Simply stick to the facts. Avoid subjective or judgemental language, such as someone being aggressive or senile. Avoid using red flag terms such as labeling someone the victim of abuse. As I said, just stick to the plain facts. And one of my pet peeves, the mistake of not closing the loop. As I've said in the last two videos, if you're responsible for following up or making sure that there's a resolution documented, then do so in a timely manner. So many times I see huge gaps when I do progress note audits. Don't let that be something I see in your notes. So hopefully you now know how to avoid the most common mistakes people make when writing in client notes. Now, if you haven't watched the two previous videos in this series, then I suggest you do. Also, if you want to access a copy of our popular guide to writing progress notes, just go to the description box below this video. I'll have a link to the CDCS Resource Hub where you can sign up for free access to this and other resources. And while you wait for our next video, I highly recommend that you check out these two videos here. We love creating content for people like you, and as always, I appreciate you for stopping by. Have a great day, and I'll see you in a future video.